Erin Dale. I'm the reporter with the Cohasset Mariner. I am here today with Cohasset High School students and graduates who are behind 143 TV. So we're going to go around and maybe we'll start out with everybody saying their names. And for this side of the room that's all currently in college, could you say the name of your school, what year you are, and also what year you graduated from Cohasset? And then we'll get to our high school students.
Sure. My name is Anthony Nahill. I graduated in 2013. I'm now a sophomore at UMass Amherst, majoring in sport management.
I'm Colin Bell. I am part of the class of 2013. I am now currently a sophomore within the College of Communication at Boston University.
I'm Andrew Fewsmith. I'm a senior at Boston University, and I was a class of 2011 here at Cohasset High School, film and TV.
Hi, I'm Bobby Nahill, graduate of 2013 as well. I'm currently a sophomore at the University of Southern California, a broadcast major and theater minor.
My name is Dan Toomey. I am a junior at Cohasset High School.
I'm Samantha Mushin. I'm a senior at Cohasset High School.
And I'm Christian Cunningham. I'm a senior at Cohasset High School.
Excellent. So we will start with our alum over here. So could you guys each describe what sparked your interest in broadcasting to begin with, and maybe discuss how you first decided to get involved with 143 TV?
Sure. So senior year, my senior year back in 2012, 2013, Dawn kind of took over this studio in the library, and they were looking for shows to put on. They asked if any high schoolers had any ideas to bring forth, and myself and my co-producer of CSPN, Matthew McCormick, were like, hey, let's make a sports TV show covering high school sports. We never really had any experience. We didn't really know where we wanted to take it at all, but we were able to work with Colin and a few others to help get the show, help have it take off. We put out, I think, like 7 or 8 episodes, and then a few online webisodes and different commercials and things of that nature. So that was really kind of where my 143 TV involvement started.
So kind of similar to Anthony, about 2 years before him, actually before Don took over, I helped out this kid actually start the whole network. It was kind of the Comcast studio that the town had basically rented for a while was stopping that service, and the town needed to open their own community access station. So Andrew Fewsmith stepped up and kind of spearheaded that whole thing, and I kind of helped him from there. That meant equipment, setting up equipment, doing all sorts of things. Then luckily they found Don, who took over and organized the whole thing. And then from there, I kind of worked with him. I worked with Anthony, and I worked with a bunch of people, editing shows, filming content, all sorts of things. And that kind of led to me pursuing film and television in college.
Yeah, my story is a little different than theirs. I was a high schooler here when 143 TV didn't exist, and I actually got my start in women's basketball. I was standing by my locker one day, and I hear the little ding-dong go off of the announcement system, and Dr. Gilgas on there says, hey, anyone who wants to film girls varsity basketball, please come down to the office. I didn't care about film that much then. I don't know why, but I went down there, and then I joined up, and for 2 seasons I filmed their seasons, and Pat Martin was one of the manager's parent, and so she was like, hey, I see you're interested in this. We're starting to do we're going to build a public access television station right here in the school. Do you want to help out? I was like, sure, okay. Again, I still wasn't that interested. I was just filming these games. I didn't have any passion yet, but I decided to just do it. And then, so starting with that, when the studio was just before it opened, and right when it first opened, before Don even showed up, I was in here trying to learn about TV and try to make this place all ship shape. And from there, I then just went to college and started doing film and television. I actually started college as a computer science major because I wasn't yet sure I wanted to do broadcast, but then I swapped over and here I am.
So I started, I believe, my junior year, end of sophomore going to junior year, and I knew Colin worked for 143 TV. I heard the name before, but I thought, it just intrigued me. I thought, I really like acting. I was interested in TV, cinema, so that, maybe I'll try broadcast, see what that's like. And I had no real direction as to what I wanted to do or where I wanted to have a focus, like Anthony, who did more sports. But I just knew that I really wanted to find a way to kind of broadcast Cohasset and to find really intriguing, interesting aspects about the town that maybe not a lot of people knew about. And so I came to Don, I said, hey, I really want to be a part of this. How can I get started? And he essentially said, here's the mic, here's the camera, here's Andrew and Colin, get started. And so I did a lot of different events around town, the Arts Festival, Goodwin Graphics, some sports games, but it was more just to find people and events around town that you normally may not hear about initially. And so that's kind of what I loved about broadcast and what really made me intrigued. And it was thinking, wow, I have this much power to put someone on camera and to really figure out what makes them who they are and why they contribute to Cohasset the way they do. And a lot of people who may not have heard them before would say, wow, like I heard about, Ron Goodwin from Goodwin Graphics, like how those t-shirts are made. That's so cool. I had no idea. So kind of the power within that, because I've always had a passion. I really do like screen acting, and I do that at school in addition to broadcast. But this is also another outlet that I really enjoy as well.
And kind of touching on that, I think all four of us kind of shared a common thing here. This amazing resource kind of led to our focus in college, and without it, for me personally, I think I can speak for Andrew as well, I really wouldn't have known what I wanted to pursue going into freshman year, which I think a lot of freshmen in college struggle with that, and knowing that just was amazing for me. I think I can speak for all of us as well.
Yeah, I didn't see television as a career path. It didn't seem like something you could work in and make a living on.
And there are a lot of aspects within television too, like for me, thinking, broadcast, you're on TV, but there's so much, there's writing a script, there's editing, there's, photography, there's so many outlets that you can take within major, and with cinema as well, doing post-production, pre-production, development, all the different aspects within film. There's so much that you learn about just, right off the bat, which is so great. It's a really hands-on career that I really admire, because that's personally how I learn the best.
Yeah, to touch off on that, I think Bobby made some good points, and especially here at 143 TV, like the show, like CSPN or the other things that Andrew, Colin, and Bobby would put on. There's not a lot of people doing it, so you get your hands in a lot of different aspects of the film and TV industry. So, I mean, when Colin would help us film CSPN, he'd be doing a lot of editing, and Matthew and I would be looking through highlight films to kind of cut and paste and piece together different things we wanted to put on the show, and then we'd have to write scripts, and Colin would help us match up, who says this and when to say it. We definitely had to do plenty of takes with some bloopers in there, but it was definitely a great experience. Even though I'm not directly involved in it at UMass right now, I plan on getting involved next semester with the campus sports radio show and TV show. And I think that I definitely benefited from working with someone like Colin, who had already been involved for a few years and could kind of like show me the ropes and show some of the younger kids the ropes, and help us kind of get our foot in the door and do a lot of different things with 143 TV.
Yeah, it's a good way to kind of get your feet wet, dealing with real issues that are going to come up when you're like in the professional world, even when you're in college. Like, as Anthony said, the one thing is syncing up clips. We didn't realize we should use a clapper board to sync everything up, so it'd be like, oh, he said this 5 times, but it goes with the audio that happened. So it's just like, you learn these things now that people are learning, their freshman, sophomore years in college, and you're just that far ahead of them, and it's just, I don't know, I can't say enough good things about this place.
Yeah. It's a safe environment. There's no penalties if you screw up. Yeah, you don't get to put your show on, but there's no deadlines really. You set everything yourself. It's all on you to make the product.
If you want to do something cool, you have to do it, and I think it's just, I don't know, it's a great place to get started.
And that being said about deadlines, you can set deadlines for yourself. I think one thing that at least my school at USC does, they really try to emulate it as a real world environment. You know, going to the media center and being assigned something right away, going off campus, going on campus, finding people to interview on a timely, schedule. And so being here at 143 TV, actually Dawn does sometimes say, hey, you've been doing this for a while, like, when is it coming along? and I think by just preparing yourself, teaching yourself, and once you learn the fundamentals of editing and whatnot, trying to budget your time as much as you can and in such a timely manner, I think will really help you in the long run.
Should we let them say it? I don't know.
No, you're already giving advice to kind of the next class, so I think that's kind of where we wanted to go with it, because it's going to ask you what you're working on in school right now that you learned from here. So I definitely feel like you've touched on that. So, so yeah, I want to kind of flip the same question to you guys, though. Why you got started, and then maybe what you learned from watching older classmates do this, and how you hope to use that when you go off to school, or if you do. So.
Well, I guess I'll go. I just remember my freshman year was when I first started to see the CSPN episodes start to crank out with Matt and Anthony. And me being the freshman who looked at every upperclassman, I was just like, that's so cool. And I had done theater since 6th grade, but at the time I really didn't know that it may be something that I wanted to go into, because when I was in 8th grade, I thought I was going to be the next basketball star, but that was cut short. And I remember because I got started with CSPN last year. It was my first year with it, and I remember talking to Matt McCormick at one of the lacrosse games at the end of my freshman year, and I was like, "So Anthony's leaving." I was like, "There's going to be that open spot. Who are you thinking about?" And he was like, do you want to do it? And I was like, well, I mean, if you're just going to throw my name in there. But, ever since we started doing it last year, Cole Morrison and I, who's our cameraman right now, we've both been trying to crank out as many episodes as we can. And we've actually gotten more into commentating games. We've gone to a lot of the away games. We recently did the Super Bowl this year for the football team. But it really never struck me that film or reporting for the camera could be something that could be a field that I would like to go into. But now, and especially junior year, when you start to look at colleges, it's great to see that door open up and develop that something that I feel like I'm passionate about. That not a lot of kids in the school are doing, and it's great to be part of a program where you feel you feel sort of unique when you join it, because it's something that you produced with your friends on your own accord. And I think 143 has been fantastic in that aspect, and I hopefully I will carry out more of the same into my senior year.
Well, for me, I kind of always knew I wanted to do something in entertainment. I was in theater since I was 4 until 6th grade. I probably thought I was going to be the next famous actress. Just kind of gradually turned into an interest in film and stuff. And so I heard about 143 TV sophomore year, and so I just joined and I got into the backstage stuff and liked it. So.
Are you more into backstage, or do you want to be on camera?
No, I like filming, editing, maybe directing. I don't really know what exactly, but something in that aspect.
You have time.
Yeah, I just love theater, so I just kind of do something in that realm.
You're a senior right now?
Yeah, I'm a senior.
So are you looking at schools?
Yes, I applied to a few schools, San Diego State, University of Central Florida, University of Tampa, Emerson College, University of Hartford, a bunch more. I applied to 10.
So you're thinking about doing this as a major too?
Yes, film production.
Cool.
Yeah.
What, no BU?
Thought about it. It's a little too cold here.
I second that.
So I got my start beginning of junior year. I was scheduled to film one of the school committee's meetings one night. Very fun.
We all took the time there.
Actually, filling in from one of my friends, and I didn't even know anything about the TV studio. I kind of knew that Andrew and Colin, and I had watched Matt and Anthony's show, so I kind of knew that stuff was going on here, but I didn't know exactly what. So I got my start, met Don that one night doing the school committee meeting, and from there on out, everything from filming meetings, school events, putting together videos for Dan and Cole. And one of my goals has been to try to improve our shows, everything from about the town, trying to get some more school events, school spirit videos out. We try to pump out videos for fall sports, winter sports, etc. And when I came in, we had a pretty good background and framework set up here by these guys over on this side, so that we could basically just jump in and start. We had all the equipment in place, the funding. We had Don already hired, which for these guys was a little bit more of a challenge. So I've been working here for about a year now. I'm interested in sports management, same as Anthony is doing right now, and I know that film is becoming a more important aspect in all jobs, including that. So I feel like it'll really help in the long run when someone says, here's a camera, go film one of the practices, or we need a video put together by tonight. But just to wrap up, I want to give a shout out to Don. He's been great, and I know everyone's talked about him a little bit, but the experience that we're all given to be able to come in here whenever we want, take any equipment for personal use or for any school or town events is amazing. So that's it.
Does anybody have a fun story they might want to share? It's maybe one of the craziest days you've had on the job here. Maybe something that helped prepare you for the real world. You mentioned some of the craziness and, deadlines. Maybe they're not super deadlines here.
Well, to add one, and I'm sure Cole Morrison can relate to this because he was there with me, but like I said earlier, we've gotten more into the commentary of the sports games, and we like to try to tackle as many teams as we possibly can. You don't want to keep it isolated to football or basketball. So Cole and I tried our hand at field hockey, and which neither of us really knew anything about field hockey, and so we watched. Actually, no, I didn't watch. Cole watched about a 5-minute video 10 minutes before the game on basic field hockey rules. And so the entire game was basically Cole being like, so Dan, looking at the play right now, if you're Miss G, what are you saying to your team? And I say, well, Cole, if I'm the coach, I'm saying you want to get the ball down the field into the back of the opposite team's net, and then you'll get a point.
So learning on the fly.
A little bit. So it keeps you on your toes.
I have a bunch of stories. Flavor of a few. Probably the CSPN thing. Editing and filming that show was a fiasco in and of itself. We didn't have a teleprompter at the time, so getting people to look on camera while remembering their lines was difficult. So probably per episode for what did we do? Half-hour episodes, 20 minutes? Somewhere around there or longer. We'd probably have somewhere around 3 to 4 hours of footage, which a lot of it wasn't organized.
So we would come in at 2 o'clock after school and kind of piece things together. Sometimes we wouldn't leave until after 6 o'clock,
or even later.
Or even later, 6, 7 o'clock, and then I just remember we'd have to have the show uploaded by 5 o'clock on a Thursday, because that's usually when we aired them. And there are probably 3 or 4 out of the 7 or 8 episodes we put on. There was just an issue down at the last minute. We'd call, because Don would be gone, and we'd have to call and say, hey, what do we do for this? This is going wrong. It's not going to upload. Will it be ready in time?
We'd work till probably Tuesday. Or did we get it uploaded the day before?
We try, yeah.
Yeah, the day before we generally have it up. Try to have it up by the end of the day on Wednesday, but inevitably there'd be issues, so we'd be up to the wire at 5 on Thursday. But then we'd sit down. We went to Matt's house, his co-anchor. We'd all sit down there and watch it. And we're like, this is cool. We made a show. We're probably the only people watching it. That's okay.
Yeah, do a little viewing party.
Yeah. No, it was good.
It was fun. There's many other stories, but that's
Yeah.
one that I remember.
I mean, the bloopers in and of itself.
Are those bloopers available for syndication?
They're absolutely available. On YouTube. You can definitely find them on YouTube somewhere.
We'll dig them up.
We'll
They're in the
look for
archive.
I definitely say that in general, the camera is your best teacher because you see every flaw, you see every mistake, and you think, okay, how can I improve? And even though 143 TV isn't a live production, it definitely helps you prepare to, be on the spot and pretend as though you are in a live broadcast. I didn't really, the craziest thing I think for me for 143 TV was when Dawn was like, oh, start the show on top of the horse. It was for a
Yes.
like it was the farmers market, and there was the horse, and Dawn was like, "Wow, you gotta get on that horse." I said, "Dawn, okay, don't even know how to ride horse, but that's fine." And but I remember thinking, okay, how can I be aware of the camera and not look like a fool on camera? But I just remember at school there was. Just this past semester, I was a correspondent for a show called The Morning Brew, and my personal segment wasn't live, but the host position was live, and one morning one of the hosts got sick, and I was called maybe 30 minutes before I had to be there saying, hey, the host is sick, can you do it? And not having live experience before, I definitely felt more than prepared because I felt, okay, don't think of it as live, but know that the camera is going to be in front of you and learning how, looking at the camera so I had to go in and I had to write the script. It was 2 hosts, so I had to prepare with my co-host of what we were going to talk about. We had a special guest on the show, so, when they've had special guests on the show, you have to do your research, knowing who they are, know how to say their name, you see that a lot where people will mispronounce names, but going back to the camera being your best teacher, I really think that 143 TV definitely teaches you those fundamentals, with whatever you're doing, and then looking back and editing each clip. Whether you like seeing yourself or not, it forces you to do that. And I think that is the best learning tool that you can have.
I guess kind of dovetailing on that, I'm obviously not on camera. All behind me. As you can see, I'm not really doing this too well. But another thing among many that 143 taught me is in the film world. I mean, I think the whole world in general requires you to keep your word and your word of mouth. And working with CSPN in particular, when you're filming it, editing it, and you have a deadline that other people are expecting, and you don't do something. It's like, come on, you just totally dropped the ball. Yeah. And at something like this where no one's really forcing you to do it, but there are people relying on you, it really teaches you that in the film world, from the other stuff I've done in college and the professional world, maintaining your word is really your lifeline. I mean, and it's one major thing that I've learned here.
Because it is a much smaller industry than it seems, and you definitely will go into school seeing people who think, they're the next best thing that's out there, and they're, have done world documentaries and everything. But I think what you also have to keep in mind too is you are your own person, and you will find a way to get to where you want, whether it's that way or your own, hopefully be your own. But at least having that reputation is so important, having a good reputation. And by getting the basic fundamentals here and learning, it will really set you on a much higher note than a lot of people. And even though you can't do something, don't be afraid to ask questions, because this whole industry is about learning. It's such a whirlwind of an industry, and it really can be difficult at times, but it's so enjoyable. And I think by just being open to learning everything here and learning everything that you can here will really be the great foundation to at school.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, that's fine.
I was going to touch off on it, to go off Colin and Bobby's point. Colin's point about you're held accountable for everything you do. And I mean, I can't thank Colin enough for what he did for helping CSPN get launched and to the point where it is today with Dan and Cole. I mean, there'd be Matt and myself, we didn't really have any film experience, so we'd come in, I mean, it was just a fun idea in our head. Hey, we love sports. Like, I can talk about Cohasset football or Cohasset baseball, whatever, any day of the week. But to actually have to sit down and learn from Colin and Dawn, how to write scripts, how to piece together clips, and how to basic things like how to look at a camera. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people, you're not gonna know how to do that. So to have people like Colin and Don and Andrew to learn from, it's definitely really helpful. And like Bobby said, the industry's pretty small, so it definitely teaches you to hold each other accountable because you're a small team, and everyone needs to do their job to make this particular show make it work. So I think that's the main thing that we learned throughout the course of the year to make CSPN take off from where it was in day one to where it is today. So.
Yeah, and as Bobby said about knowing when to ask for help, that's also very important.
Yeah.
I mean, in the pre-dawn era,
Those days.
those days. No, it was during, I think it was the 2011. We had a huge blizzard coming through in the winter, and the studio had just opened, brand new everything, and I was the only person there. And I get a call from, I think it was Chief Quigley, saying, "Hey, we need to do like a safety message for all the townspeople." So in comes like the town manager, the police chief, the fire chief, like the elder affairs person, like the top people in the town coming to the studio. I'm just sitting there behind the board like, I got this. And so we made like a little 15-minute show. It's like, all right, now I want you to put that on loop for the next like 12 hours. It's like, I'll figure that out. Yeah, sure. Okay, bye. And so then it was just in such a lost area because I didn't have any support at that time. So I was like, try to search on the internet for how this program works, how this works, how to do this, how to encode, all that stuff is nuts. But then Dawn comes in and things get a lot easier because now there's a support system. I knew how like the equipment in here works, and he knew how like technically how to program, how to logistically create everything. And the first day he got here, we had the whole Mike Coughlin trials, and right here in the library. And so Don's like, let's have some fun with this. So we grab every camera we have, every camera like whole public access has, bring it all together, and we create this whole multi-camera production during one of the more intense times of governmental affairs. And it became a very valuable resource for the townspeople, the lawyers, and we learned a lot on the system and got Don integrated very fastly. But just bringing Don on his own and having two people in the system we each had someone to bounce off of. He knows a lot of the history of TV production. He knows how everything has worked, how everything does work, and then I know how like a particular system in here works. So we bounce off each other constantly, improving with both of our knowledge sets.
And also just to have that friendly atmosphere just going in here makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
But one thing I was going to add is that, because you guys are all doing, like, this is, like, amazing stuff to me compared to what we're doing here and you guys are working on now in college, but I think one of the funny things is that when we were all talking about how we first got involved with 143 TV, almost everybody has said, well, I knew it was something, but I didn't know.
It's so true.
And I tried
It's
it
so
out.
true.
And, and now we're all sitting here and we're talking about pursuing this in college and possibly a career. And I think that's a great, just to have that opportunity. And I was talking to one of my friends that I have from Hingham. He's involved with the faculty at Hingham, and he said, I saw some of the CSPN videos that you're talking to me about online, and he said, we have a student body that is much larger than that, and just compared to what you guys are doing, we don't have anything to the caliber of that. And then that sort of gives you chills, where it's just like, this is something that I joined just for fun. That I thought was just going to be like some neat after-school activity. But like, really, this is definitely something that I, as well as like everybody else here, this is something that we want to pursue and dedicate a good portion of our lives to. So I really can't thank 143 TV, Dawn, the entire program enough for that.
And also for up-and-coming kids, I know as of right now, and it's always kind of a challenge, and we on this side kind of fell into the place to fill these guys' shoes, but for the new guys, like when I came in the first day to the studio and Colin and Bryce and all these guys were editing all the terms, Final Cut, Handbrake, P2 cameras, all these different things. You have no clue what they are, and it's kind of intimidating. But after even a few weeks here in the small group, you're just thrown into things. You have to take a camera out into the field. You have to edit on your own to get something done by a deadline. So if anyone's intimidated, just push through and you'll learn everything on your own, basically. But if we can add, if anyone's interested in joining, feel free to come.
Please do.
And meet the team. So.
And one final note on the whole learning thing, because a lot of the stuff I know about TV, video, film has come from here. It's a lot more fun to learn in this environment than learn in the classroom. Because being in college, I've been around people who are puzzled by a lot of things, and it's fun being able to be in a place where you can like bounce ideas off. Hey, it doesn't work, whatever, we'll try it again. You're not getting a grade for it. It's a lot more fun than doing it in a classroom. So keep that in mind if you want to join as well.
Don doesn't yell. I've met a lot.
No,
He's very
so
quiet.
nice.
I remember I broke a battery once, and I was like,
Yeah.
no,
Oh no.
I was like, I'm so sorry. He's like, it's okay. He's like, we'll fix it. You didn't yell at me, you didn't get angry.
So then you go to college, you're just like, oh, yeah, that's $100. It's like, I don't have that.
I was freaking out. I thought you'd be so mad at me. We're just supposed to.
Also, to any freshmen who are thinking about doing really anything in Cohasset, if you're even like considering doing something, I would do it because there's not a lot of places that have, Cohasset's really, really small. There's not a lot of places where you have as much flexibility and opportunity to, you can do sports, but then you can also do theater or, the TV program. So if anybody is thinking about it, please do.
You can even do what I did. I just walked right in. It's like, hey, I'm Bobby Nahil. He's, oh, hi, I'm Don. And I was like, hey, nice to meet you. I want to do this. You could do that, A lot of other places, you cannot do that, And you are competing against a lot of people who are very talented. And so, like you guys have been saying, just this opportunity alone is so fantastic. It really, really is.
Yeah, I remember I found out one day I came to school, the announcements came on, and they said something like, oh, if you're interested in filming, come to 143 TV. I was like, okay. So I went down to the office because I had no clue where this was, and they were like, I don't know what you're talking about. I remember that. I was like, hey, maybe I'm hearing things. They're like, but I do know that studio, just go into the library. I was like, okay. Saw Don, he's like, oh yeah, we want to film something right after school, like field hockey, it's 2:30. I was like, okay. Just gave me a camera. I was like, all in one day. I was like, okay.
And then other times it's just like, hey, here's the camera, go ahead. I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was just so thrown off. Went into the office. They're like, we did not say that announcement, but sure. Maybe I'm hearing things. But okay. It works.
Yeah.
And I also think that we've become more involved. Like I know for the Super Bowl, for the last 2 years, we've been able to film in the press box for the Sports Hub at Gillette Stadium. So I think between Ron Ford, the principals, the town manager, they're including us in a lot more town events, and we're getting more experience and opportunities that maybe a television that doesn't have as many students maybe going up and asking for it. Oh, hey, can we get the big box this year, or things like that. So I think the studio and the TV station has become a part of the community even more, than it has when it first started out.
You're definitely right. I mean, the studio, when it started as, okay, we need to have a studio because, bylaws, you need to produce public access shows or whatever. And, then originally it evolved to like, okay, it's a public utility, we, show governmental discussions and whatnot or whatever. And then eventually we started seeing the need for students. And we got students involved, and originally it was like, all right, how involved do we want to have students into this? And then eventually we see, us learning, us evolving, and us finding a path in life that we didn't have before because of the studio. And that it's just been the evolution of what 143 TV has meant to both us and the town. So it's definitely become a community resource in so many more ways than one.
No, we're locking it down. You have to watch it on TV.
Oh, it's a fun thing we do this at graduation, but who maybe wants to go around and say where you see yourself in 10 years?
Oh, this question. This
Terrible
question.
idea.
I can tell you where I hope to not
Okay, how
be.
about
I mean, we should try.
Post-graduation,
Yeah.
how about we do it that way? So let me start.
Post like
Start that
senior
again.
year?
Should we-
You guys will,
Yeah,
so
next-
you
next
could talk
year.
about it either way. You could say, this is where I see myself in college, you know, what you, I mean, you kind of said what you want to major in, but maybe what you want to do with that, and then you guys obviously, like, what's your plan after college?
Yeah.
The career
God.
thing.
That's too real of a
Should we
question
talk
right
about
now.
what we're doing right now?
We can talk
Yeah,
about
you know
that.
what, courses would be interesting, because
Or,
that's
yeah.
one thing, I actually talked to Matt McCormick ahead of time, since he couldn't be here. So
Matty.
he sent me like a novel, which was great. No, he wrote me like this whole thing. I'm like, this could be a whole separate article, because he's such a, you know, he's a good writer anyway. He was our columnist, so. But he just basically gave me this whole thing about what he's doing in school right now and how specifically what he did here prepared him for that. So, you know, I'm just trying to think how we want to phrase that. Are there any courses you're taking right now, or you mentioned one you're about to take actually?
Well,
What you're doing.
directly no.
Yeah.
But I have a friend who works in the TV and radio station with UMass Athletics, and he covered boys soccer this past fall. I would just go watch some of the games, and I see him with a camera like behind the goal. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing here? He said, oh, I cover boys soccer for like UMass Athletics and the television show. And I mean, I had a heavy course load this semester, so in the following semester, I definitely plan on getting involved, going down. I think you're supposed to just cover one sport mainly, which will be a change from CSPN. You got to cover a wide range.
Gymnastics.
But I plan on getting involved with covering some UMass sports as well, which will be cool because hopefully you can get some access to the athletes, the Division I athletes.
You
So
do.
if I can get any access to the facilities or things like that, backstage, whatever, that'd be pretty cool.
So yeah, I mean, I'm a film and television major at BU, so almost everything I do there is related to what I learned here. But I had an internship at Clear Channel Media and Entertainment, which is now iHeartMedia. They own, if you're in the Boston area, they own KISS 108, Jam 94.5, and 101.7 The Bull. And I know I sound like a anyway, I produce all sorts of videos for them. They actually, believe it or not, for a company that big, they don't actually have like a video department or anything. They work under the umbrella of the web department. So I technically create videos for their website. You know, I cover concerts, when artists come into the station, all sorts of things. And, you know, the stuff here is completely relevant to everything I'm doing there, and also relevant with my courses at BU.
Yeah, honestly, I found courses to be less of the significant part of college in terms of education. Yeah, the courses they teach you, like, this is how this happens, this works, and you feel like you learn something, but what it really comes down to is your experiences. My friend and I started a web series for the campus channel, and that just absolutely took off, and we learned so much. We shot I don't know, a feature film worth length of content, and that amount of content creation just pushed our education that much further. I got to work on our BU athletics TV production, so we went out and filmed different games, did a full-on multi-camera production of basketball in what was the highest quality production that the Patriot League has seen. And so, I mean, that's all us as the students, and we've learned just eons from these, hands-on productions. And I mean, outside of that, knowing these people around the Boston area, these people who work at our colleges. I've gone to work for NBC Sports, Fox Sports, what other sports networks are there? I don't know, WGBH TV, Top Chef. I've worked in a lot of different little capacities around Boston, kind of expanding my network because of who I knew at college. I mean, yeah, the professors I learned through the courses, but what it really comes down to is getting out there and learning hands-on.
That is very true what you said. I think one thing that you guys will see at school is those who are in your major, they are the young Hollywood of the future. And one of my friends mentioned that to me. I was like, actually, that's a very good way to put it, because, here it goes in waves, you know, and knowing that and knowing the connection that you can make in college, I definitely feel as though that has been my greatest resource. My school in general calls itself the professional school, and a lot of schools at USC are like that, where they'll really try to emulate real life real life situations, and they'll apply it in the classroom. So for my classes, you have to do both print and broadcast. So you have to learn how to write, how to report, how to edit, how to be on camera. So you have to learn how to do all of it anyway. And so I was working on 2 television stations, The Morning Brew and Annenberg TV News. And those are very different kinds of journalism experiences. One is The Morning Brew is a lot more entertainment based. It was very similar to 143 TV, where it would be up to me, my responsibility as the correspondent every Wednesday, to find someone from USC who can bring a unique aspect to the school and interview them, edit my own content. Kind of one thing about that, just realizing how important networking is. I networked with my Uber driver going home from another interview, and he said, oh, I know someone who goes to USC who owns their own yoga jumpsuit line. You should interview them. And he gave me her contact information. Just stuff like that, you get so lucky with. And personally for me, I think my classes, although sometimes they're a bit daunting, I have learned so much. I took an acting for TV commercials class just this past semester, and I had a teacher who's been in the casting agency the past 30 years. He really knows what he's doing, and you're up against the camera every single class, and you're learning so much. For my print writing class, we were each assigned an area in Los Angeles that really wasn't the best area. But our teacher said, okay, you guys have to come up with a pitch in the next week and tell me what it is. You have to have a minimum of this amount of sources, doing this research. So I went to a certain area in Los Angeles for like 7 hours one day, just understanding the area and where everyone comes from and talking to people. And it just opens your eyes so much. And I think that's what's so cool about this industry is you will have a lot of access to people that you may not normally have access to. And one thing that I think you guys will realize too is people like to talk, whether they come off that way or not. Everyone likes to have their story heard to an extent, and by realizing that you have the power to do that and then using their words to have an influence on a greater society, I think it's such a cool thing to be a part of, and to say, wow, I could do that. The fact that the Cohasset Mariner came today and they wanted to have a story on us, but it may have an impact on someone who is reading it and say, wow, I actually have wanted to do this, and I didn't know that this was capable of, I was capable of doing this. And just those kinds of experiences, I think I valued so much at school.
Want to do this, dedicate the time to it, and prove to us that you do.
Mm-hmm.
And just from what I've talked about with other people, I'm trying to apply, to school, or looking to apply to schools right now, and stuff like CSPN or just reporting in front of the camera. If you can get a reel of that, and then prove to a school that this is something that I wanted to do, I made the initiative to do it, and I put this all together on myself. No one really pushed me towards it. This is a decision that I had to make. Mm-hmm. I think that's what a college would look for. I'm assuming. Yes.
That being said, I did that myself. I had an interview with USC, and I just asked it, could I do a reel? Could I submit a reel? They said, it's not required, but if you want to. Of course I did it, And just by having, even if you're not in front of the camera, if you're behind the camera, just showing that you're capable of having all these experiences in high school, in addition to everything else that you guys have to do here, it's phenomenal. And I think one thing that I really appreciated from Cohasset in general was just how many opportunities that the school gives you to be well-rounded, to make yourself as worldly as you can within this town. Because obviously, there are experiences that you won't have until you go off elsewhere. Mm-hmm. But I think by having that well-rounded mindset with a focus, it's a real powerhouse to your application, so to speak, and it's a really good selling point for yourself.
I'm like, don't look at me.
I want to do sports management, just like Anthony, but as some people have told me, in that profession, you need to start out at a very basic level. Like I said earlier, you need to start with a camera at a practice or a game, and work your way up from editing commercials, doing promo videos. So I think, you know, this experience here, going into college, is you know, very essential for that kind of field. Because if you're just going to get thrown into it and have no idea what a camera is, you're going to, you know, make yourself look like a fool. So.
Real world sounds scary. No, and you want to do film production? Is that what
Yes,
you're
correct. I'm not 100% sure if I want to do editing or actual cinematography or directing, producing. I don't really know, but I just know I definitely want to do something in that aspect.
You feel like you get to try a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I feel like I'm familiar with all aspects. I have a little bit of, what's the word? Experience.
Keyword.
Yeah.
In like all those parts, but I don't really know what exactly.
That's okay though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in college.
Oh yes.
I again went to
Yeah.
college as a computer science major. I knew a little bit of everything,
Yeah.
but then I narrowed it down.
And most schools try to teach you everything because
Right.
they realize the importance of that. And
Some applications ask like, all right, what kind? I remember for UCF they asked like, what kind of film? They asked like if I wanted to do documentary or like narrative. I was like,
Wow.
yeah. I mean, some are more specific. Yeah, some are more specific, but I think just college, in addition to here, is such a great experience to learn
yeah.
different types. And most schools are good about making sure you learn everything to
Yeah,
realize what you want to
definitely.
do.
I have one semester left, and I'm still like on the split between do I want to go film as a cinematographer or TV as a camera operator or live director. And they both are equally appealing to me. I don't know which one I want to do.
little bit
So
about
I kind of just made a decision, like, in order to get a job, I should probably do, like, TV as a camera operator, just because I have connections. I can probably get a job there. And then work my way back. Exactly.
Then
But
work your
it's
way
still
up.
relevant. It's still
Yeah.
something I like to do, and so therefore it's perfectly good for me.
But I think from what I've learned at 143 TV is very applicable to the sports industry itself because, like Christian said earlier, that a lot of what you're going to be doing in the sports industry is starting on your own, and you're going to be starting from the bottom.
Don't finish it.
Song quote.
No song quote meant. I think it wasn't meant to be, but like what we did here to put that experience to the test is, I mean, with the help of Colin, we basically sat down and said, hey, let's get a sports TV show going. So we started everything. We had we built the Facebook page, Twitter page. I didn't know how to write a script or anything like that, so I had to have Colin help.
No, I don't write scripts.
He doesn't write scripts, but he knows how to coordinate.
Yeah.
So I mean, to apply that to the sports world, you're going to be starting from the bottom.
Pun intended.
No pun intended, but I mean, whether you work with a sports team or a sports company like Adidas or Reebok or something, or you go on the avenue of sports television or talk radio or something like that, you're going to be applying these same basic principles that I learned from 143 TV and CSPN to my sports industry. So.
And before I started here, and I still am involved with the boys basketball team here, and the as you know, the triathlon company Streamline Events. So I've seen pretty much a pretty broad spectrum of sports fields, from road races and events to actual sports teams, and then to this side, more the CSPN sports television. And they all work interchangeably. My boss at the triathlon company has asked me to do videos because he knows I do this. Bo, the basketball coach, has asked me to do some come-up videos, and I'm able to use some of the equipment here for those jobs as well. So as I found firsthand that everything works interchangeably, and it all helps each other out. So.
Well, to avoid the awkward silence, I was going to say also just connecting to the sports world. I don't know a lot about sports, but I think especially with programs like CSPN, 143 TV is like a great opportunity for kids to they can see themselves on TV, and I think every kid likes to see them make the amazing play, or every parent wants to see their child like on the Super Bowl or whatever. And I think it's
Yeah.
great that as a community that is very sports oriented, we're able to branch out, and that once again brings more people into 143 TV.
And then on the non-sports side of things, you guys also film musicals, plays, that sort of thing too, right? So you try to, and you're in them as well.
Yeah.
So you have also done the acting thing, so.
Got a little taste of everything.
Well, yeah, I think I remember my freshman year when we put on the Drowsy Chaperone for the musical. Bobby. Was
Yeah,
the
I interviewed the
interviewer.
cast, and it was funny because I mean, being in it, I had to pretend as though I wasn't. But I definitely know that it brought a lot of people into the show thinking, hey, I didn't know that the musical was coming out. Or like for those who didn't get the PSOs or the calendar or just didn't see it in the paper. It was another great outlet that a lot of people watch that sometimes we don't realize, just flipping through the channels and say, oh, Cohasset has a station, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So.
And to get go ahead.
I just was gonna say, I feel like just going through the years, I feel like this has definitely grown. Like, I remember when I first started out, I'd tell people what I was doing, they'd just be like, what? Like,
I wouldn't
what
get
do you
it.
mean? Like, they'd see me going to the library and be like, what are you doing? And then now if I talk about it, they're like, oh yeah, I've heard about that. Like, what's going on in there? Like, what do you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
people are definitely more knowing of what's going on than they used to be. They know
Which is
who's
good.
involved. They know Don. I don't
Yeah.
know.
They know Don.
And to get away from the sports field, we, Andrew and Colin and Dawn and I mean, we've worked everywhere from the Emergency Operations Center. We installed cameras there. We've done a few live broadcasts from there. The school committee room, the Board of Selectmen office, places like the auditorium. We have hookups in the gym. Places that we were never able to do live broadcasts from or productions. The infrastructure and equipment's there now, after years of having Dawn and these guys here, so that we can do that kind of stuff. So we've really grown on our abilities to do that kind of stuff. Then having everyone come in here, like Andrew said, during that one storm, everyone pile in, not know where to go, not know how to put on the microphone. Where now it's just turn it on and go. So.
And seeing in this day and age the power of the media and I mean how much it's ingrained in our lives, just the importance of our job and what we can do to help our society in the best way possible. It's just, I mean, knowing how to do everything too is such a cool it's such a cool aspect to have, because not a lot of people know what certain cameras are, certain angles, or how to get a message out there, how to do coding. And just as our society advances to a more technologically based time, it really is such a crucial field for people to get into. And so I think having the foundations here, it's just as much as we've said it, we really can't say it enough.
It's huge.
Mm-hmm.
So in closing, we would like to formally welcome Erin Dale to the 143 team.
You guys are
There you go.
Aw, thank you.
Gifts.
You guys should all give yourselves a hand because you are the future.
That would be nice.
But thank all of you for meeting with me today, and I really enjoyed having a sit down with you guys. And it's hard because everybody's running around, and some of you are still on vacation.
Yep.
Yeah.
School's going on here. It's weird.
Yeah.
Right, there is. So, but thank all of you and good luck.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks.